So, what do
Mhm.
we think they represented and the symbolism behind them was? And especially main vampire who was Irish. What was going on there? Why do you think that all of that was incorporated in the storyline?
Should I just go through what I think the metaphor is?
Yeah.
All right. So I think one thing that's really central in this movie is that music defines communities and holds them together. This community that we're seeing, places like the Juke Joint, are kind of the cornerstone of their communities. It's what informs and shapes the identities that people have. The movie tells us twice that some people are capable of playing music that is so powerful that it transcends space and time, right? And our main character, or Sammy, is one of those people, right? So when he starts singing and playing the blues, we see kind of not only the community all coming together, but past, future, and present generations all coming together psychically. The ancestor manifest and the descendants manifest going into our time, right? We basically see a culture existing. It transcends both space and time, right? And the music is what holds everything together. Then the vampires show up and they have their own music. But it's notable that the vampires basically offer freedom, right? They offer freedom from all the problems and limitations and pain of the world that people live in favor of this utopian, egalitarian community, like almost like a commune that transcends all boundaries and all distinctions. First of all, they have a master, right? They're not all equal. There's definitely a master there. And then when they play their music, it's the master's music. They're not playing all their songs, they're playing the Irish folk song, which I understand has all this history, and there's a connection between Irish folk music and blues in a way that I don't really understand. Have not looked up the history of that. But notably, when the vampires sing their songs, it is the master's song. And I think that's really important because that's kind of the first really big clue that when they talk about what they're offering, they're lying. The story is essentially about Sammy being offered this. He's kind of being given kind of an easy way out in a way. And we're kind of shown that this is a lie, that it's just another form of servitude.
What is his, like, what was the
So
message behind this
the
goal?
goal was to kind of co-opt and absorb Sammy's music, right? And the
Yeah.
music is the culture. So he was trying to co-opt or absorb the culture in some way, right? See, as I was watching it, I thought this was about revolutionaries, like people who promise a utopia and then deliver the exact opposite. They make all these promises about how if you join us, all your problems will go away. All you have to do is kind of submit to my will and give up all your agency and just do what I say because I know best. That's what revolutionaries and cult leaders say, right? The thing that really sticks out in all of this is the after credits scene where it's 60 years later, Sammy has had a full life. He's had a career. He's a legendary blues singer. And then Stack and Mary, like the two vampires that survived the battle, show up and offer him, like, give him one last chance at immortality. And he turns it down. But their offer seems, at that point, seems kind of genuine. So this whole idea that the vampires are lying about what they're offering and that they're really just like offering another form of servitude seems kind of contradicted by the last scene. But at the same time, I think there's enough clues that Remick, the vampire master, like that what he is doing is definitely not honest. So that's already kind of a start that there's something up with what they're offering. That's the part where I'm not entirely clear on what the metaphor exactly is. And there's kind of a vampire trope that vampires exist outside of the norms of society, and that's kind of their appeal, and that is why being a vampire is appealing to people who are not being given a fair shake in society, right? For whom society does not allow just play by the rules and you'll have a good life.